The city is making changes after a second serious collision at a train crossing. The Athens City Council is looking to increase safety measures at the railroad crossing on Cream Level Road, the scene of a serious crash just this last Monday. And back in 2019, in the same spot, a 13-year-old boy died after the school bus he was on was hit by a train. As KLTV7's Lauren Tier reports, the mayor of Athens has now cleared the path for the Texas Department of Transportation to move forward with new plans at this railroad crossing.
On the same day City Council would vote to progress the process to make the intersection safer, a car was hit on the tracks that cross Cream Level Road going through Athens. There are no safety arms, lights, or other precautions other than a sign to warn drivers of oncoming trains. The mayor of Athens, Aaron Smith, has since signed a letter rejecting a proposal from Union Pacific Railroad to close Cream Level Road, which would eliminate any car traffic crossing the tracks.
Cream Level Road's pretty long and pretty narrow, and it would create safety issues if you close that road because it would make long dead-end streets where safety vehicles such as fire trucks would not be able to turn around. There's no good place to turn around there. So we decided that it would be better if it was left open and install the safety measures at the railroad crossing.
In a statement from Union Pacific spokesperson Robin Teisfer, she says ultimately it is fair to say Union Pacific believes the safest crossing is no crossing. The statement also says we do have an ongoing goal of closing redundant crossings. Smith says they are eager to find a solution.
If it'll do the job of keeping people safe, that's exactly our intention.
According to Mayor Smith, the rejection letter is just one step in the process to get TxDOT involved so they can install the safety measures. In a statement from TxDOT Public Information Officer Jeff Williford, he says we are currently working with the City of Athens to install crossing gates at this intersection. This will be funded by TxDOT.
I hope we can get this done moving forward quickly for our citizens.
Lauren Tier, KLTV 7 News.
Now, the mayor tells Lauren they don't know when the project to install the safety measures will begin or how long it will take. These measures include warning lights, safety gate arms, and painted warnings on the pavement as cars approach the railroad tracks.